Sergeant Arms, please secure the doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
All right, this morning we are grateful to have the invocation from Reverend Dana Stauffer of Emmanuel Wesleyan Church in Fruitland, Maryland, guest again of the distinguished senator from District 38. Members, please rise for the invocation.
Let us pray. God, we thank you so much for this day that you've given us. And God, I thank you for this opportunity that we could gather together. And Lord, today I pray in particular for the leaders that are here, God. I thank you for the gifts and the talents that you blessed them with. But today, Lord, in particular, I pray for wisdom, God, where there's uncertainty. And Lord, I also pray for strength where there is weakness. Today, God, I ask that your hand would continue to be upon the state of Maryland, God. And Lord, I pray for a hedge of protection over this state. And God, we pray for this country as well, Lord. And I pray for unity where there's disunity. And Lord, I pray for love where there is hatred. And we thank you, God, again for this opportunity that we could come together and what we're going to get accomplished in this meeting. In the name of the Lord, we pray. Amen.
Well said. Chair recognizes the distinguished senator from the 38th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are doubly blessed from my district this week as Reverend Dana Stauffer, pastor of Emmanuel Wesleyan Church, Fruitland campus, joins us today. My colleague serving the Lord as a reverend is all in the family for Pastor Stauffer. Her dad, Reverend Tom Bunning, was the longtime 30 years a pastor at Emmanuel Wesleyan in Salisbury, with her brother, Reverend Mark Bunning, as the current pastor there, and her mom, Janice Bunning, also as a reverend, with her parents' last assignment at Emmanuel Wesleyan in Crisfield, also in my district. I also want to commend Pastor Dana Stauffer for her leadership in building a strong youth group where their numbers have actually increased during COVID-19. Very uplifting. Mr. President, I ask that Reverend Dana Stauffer's prayer today be journalized.
Without objection, we will most certainly journalize the Reverend's wonderful remarks this morning. And Senator, this is the beauty of virtual legislating and our virtual invocations. We're able to get the Lower Eastern Shore represented well on our faith front. And so we're so pleased to be joined by them virtually. All right. Has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? Looks like we're missing a few. All right. Clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. All right. Announcements. Any announcements today? All right. One logistical announcement just for members as you're starting to look at your calendar for this week. We've got a lot of work to do today, but it is likely, depending on what happens in the House tomorrow, that we will have a lot and even more work to do on Friday. We had initially canceled the second sessions on Fridays. It is looking more and more likely that there may be a 3 to 5 session after the 12 to 2 session on Friday. We will let members know as soon as possible once we sort of see the workload and what things look like, but I just want to give a heads up that fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, 3 to 5 may be more likely than not this upcoming Friday. So we may have 2 sessions. So keep that in mind as you are making your scheduling events for the remainder of the week. Any other piece of information before we jump in? If not, so we consider the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We'll start with some bill introductions. These are bills that are post-Hopper deadline, so they will be headed to rules. So this is calendar number 24. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 927, Senator Pinsky, Institutions of Higher Education, Prohibition Against Incentive Payments, Foreign Student Exemption. Senate Bill 928, Senator Reedy, Mental Health Law, Reform of Laws and Delivery Services.
All right, the next order of business is introduction of Senate bond initiatives. Thank you all for getting these in. They are coming in fast and furiously. This is Senate bond initiatives calendar number 14. Clerk will read the bond initiatives.
Senator Griffith, Bishop McNamara High School. Howard County Senators, Barnard Fort House. Howard County Senators, Kaplan's Facade Restoration. Howard County Senators, Harriet Tubman Cultural Center Playground.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bond initiatives. I think we have the vast majority of folks here. Let's do, I don't think we need to do a quorum call because we just did our check-in. Let's go ahead and do the first. If there's no objections, we'll do the third reading calendars first today so that we can get those out of the way. Let's start with Senate third reading calendar number 7. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 7, Senator Simonera, Courts, Court Drug Program, Veterans Treatment Courts.
All right, Senate Bill 7 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 7, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 14, Senator Kelly, Compensation to Individual Erroneously Convicted, Sentenced, and Confined, the Walter Lomax Act.
Senate Bill 14 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? Chair recognizes Senator from the 34th District, 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. This bill is a long time coming, and I just want to thank my colleagues from both within the Senate but also within the House for listening and for doing a good, strong, bipartisan bill that serves the interests of the public generally, but also these very unfortunate people who somehow fell through the cracks of our criminal justice system and whose lives were irretrievably damaged. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any other further senators wish to explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call.
Mr. President,
With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 14, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 82, Senator Augustine, State Board of Examiners for Audiologists, Hearing Aid Dispensers, and Speech Language Pathologists, Maryland Music Therapists Act.
Senate Bill 82 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone should change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 82, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 227, Senator Elrith, Water Pollution, Stormwater Management Regulations, and Watershed Implementation Plans, Review and Update.
Senate Bill 227 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 227, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 236, Senator Heddleman, Maryland Commission on Civil Rights, Employment Discrimination Reporting.
Senate Bill 236 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 236, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 249, Senator Bailey, Higher Education, Senatorial Scholarships, Program Accreditation. This is an emergency bill.
Senate Bill 249 is on third reader for final passage. Senators, this is an emergency bill. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 249, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 308, Senator Ellis, Higher Education, Maryland Community College Promise Scholarship Eligibility.
Senate Bill 308 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 308, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's see, we have another third reading. I think that does it for third readers, I guess, for the day. Is that right, Madam Secretary? All right. So let's go to our second readers. We'll start with the committee, the Finance Committee. This is report number 6. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 41, Senator Augustine, Health, Mental and Emotional Disorders, Consent, Mental Health Access Initiative, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 47th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, the data shows that anxiety, depression, and suicide has been steadily increasing among children over the last 10 years and has alarmingly skyrocketed during the last year of COVID isolation. Adolescents between the ages of 12 and 15 in Maryland can speak to any adult of their own volition, except the ones who are trained and licensed to help them. Trained, licensed healthcare professionals who provide services for mental or emotional disorders. That's what this is all about. Senate Bill 41 establishes that a minor who is at least age 12 and is determined by a healthcare provider to be mature and capable of giving informed consent has the same capacity as an adult to consent to consultation, diagnosis, and treatment of a mental or emotional disorder by the healthcare provider or a clinic. A minor younger than the age of 16 may not consent to the use of prescription medications to treat a mental or emotional disorder. The bill also authorizes a healthcare provider to decide to provide information to a parent, guardian, or custodian of a minor unless the healthcare provider believes that the disclosure will lead to harm to the minor or deter the minor from seeking care. There are no amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Chair recognizes the senator from the 38th District. What purpose does Senator Rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Wanted to ask the bill sponsor.
Will the floor leader yield for a question?
Yes, sir.
Senator may proceed.
Just wanted to, obviously we all care about the mental health, especially of our young people going through COVID-19. I have had some constituents contact me about this legislation, and I have not had an opportunity to go through it in detail yet. Would you be willing to special order this bill, please?
Absolutely.
No objection from the committee to special order. Without objection, so ordered. The bill will be special ordered to appropriate time tomorrow. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 79, Senator Kramer, Electricity, Change of Address, Maintenance of Subscriptions and Contracts, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Montgomery County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. Senate Bill 79 simply authorizes folks who have community solar energy subscriptions or residential electric choice contracts to maintain those subscriptions or contracts at a new service address in the event they move, so long as that new address is within the same service territory as the old address. There are 2 amendments. The first is technical. The second delays the effective date of the bill to July 1, 2022. There was no opposition at the committee hearing. I believe it passed the committee unanimously. With that, I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, Senate Bill 79. The floor leader has moved for the adoption of 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. Question first is on the 2 committee amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report as amended say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 79 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 100, Senator Kelp, Task Force on Oral Health in Maryland, favorable with 2 amendments.
Senate Bill 100. Chair recognizes the out of finance. The chair of the committee is the floor leader.
Thank you. Senate Bill 100 establishes the Task Force on Oral Health in Maryland. The duties of the task force include analyzing the current access to dental services for all residents of the state, identifying areas where a significant number of residents are not receiving oral health care services, identifying barriers to receiving dental services in areas of need, and making recommendations to increase access to dental services. Amendment 1 adds sponsors. Amendment 2 alters the membership of the task force by including the Deputy Secretary for Public Health Services as a member. Alters the scope of inquiry of the task force by requiring a focus on the socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, age, and disability of residents as factors impacting access to dental services, and adds the Senate Finance Committee as a recipient of reports from the task force. There was no opposition at the committee hearing. I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leaders move for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. Question first is on the amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 100 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 251, Chair Finance Committee, Commissioner of Financial Regulations, Licensing of Non-Depository Institutions, Elimination of Paper License Requirements, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Senate Bill 251, a departmental bill, eliminates the requirement that certain non-depository financial institutions obtain a paper license with the Office of the Commissioner of Financial Regulation. Instead, affected licensees will obtain a single electronic license issued by the nationwide multi-state licensing system. The bill also makes conforming changes related to the posting of license information. No amendments, no fiscal impact. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 251 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the, let's see, we got to move to a new calendar. It looks like we've got a report from the Committee on Budget and Taxation. This is report number 3. The clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 19, Chair Budget and Taxation Committee, Economic Development by Technology Investment Incentive Tax Credit Program alterations, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Montgomery County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 19 is a departmental bill that alters the biotechnology investment incentive tax credit by, number 1, establishing the objective and goals of the program, number 2, eliminating the 3-year extension for being in active business in order to receive an investment and returns the program to the original 12-year limitation, and 3, reducing the value of the tax credit from 50% of the investment to 33% of the investment, or from 75% to 50%, depending on the location of the company. The bill also prohibits the department from certifying tax credits for investments in a single biotech company that exceeds 10% of the total appropriation for the program each year, or $7 million in investments in the aggregate. There's one committee amendment that clarifies the $7 million limitation applies to the tax credits received by qualified investors, and I move adoption of the amendment and the favorable report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. Questions on the amendment? Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Question now is on the adoption of the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 19 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 48, Senator Young, Income Tax Subtraction Modification, Living Organ Donors, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Frederick City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 48 expands the existing living organ donation donor income tax subtraction modification from $7,500 to $10,000. And it also allows individuals to deduct unreimbursed child or elder care and medication expenses attributable to the qualified organ donation. It passed the committee unanimously. There are no amendments, and I would move adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 48 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 146, Chair, Budget and Taxation Committee, Department of Juvenile Services, Deputy Secretaries, favorable.
Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from District 6 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 142 authorized the Secretary of Juvenile Services, with the approval of the governor, to appoint one additional deputy secretary as necessary. There's no physical impact, no committee amendments. I move adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 146 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 160, Chair, Budget and Taxation Committee, Economic Development, Cybersecurity, Investment Incentive, Tax Credit Program, Expansion and Extension, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Senator from the 3rd District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 160 is a departmental bill that implements several changes to the Cybersecurity Investment Incentive Tax Credit Program. Specifically, the bill renames the program to be the Innovation Investment Incentive Tax Credit Program, and it provides a tax credit for investments in technology companies, which are those that engage in research and development or commercialization technology in sectors identified by the Department of Commerce. It allows up to 3 years of participation rather than 1 year, and it extends the sunset of the program 2 years through June 30th of 2025. There are no committee amendments, and I move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 160 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 257, Senator Gazzoni, Sales and Use Tax, Vendor Collection Credit, Job Training, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. President. The bill creates a vendor collection credit for a qualified training organization, caps it at $250,000. This bill passed the Senate last year, passed out of committee unanimously, no opposition, no amendments. Move the report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 257 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 294, Senator Gallion, Cecil County Sales and Use Tax Exemption, Federal Facilities, Redevelopment Areas, favorable.
Chair recognizes Senator from Prince George's as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an economic development bill for a project in Cecil County. In 1976, the U.S. Navy surplus this site. In 1999, this body created the Bainbridge Development Corporation as a state entity to receive this property and create a plan. If we fast forward to the present, Cecil County has committed over $9.5 million for a new waste facility. And in the 2020 and 21 budget, the General Assembly and Governor have put in over $1 million. This bill exempts the sales and use tax for sale of construction material, warehousing equipment, if the material or equipment is purchased by a person solely for use in the specified federal facilities redevelopment area in Cecil County. We have, it was unanimous vote, and I believe we have an amendment, Mr. President. In the COVID vortex, it didn't get to where it needed to go. We voted on the bill, but I've talked to the chairman. I think he's fine with the amendment, but it's going to be offered by the senator from Cecil County.
Thank you, Senator. The floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Let's adopt the report, and then we'll take up the amendment afterwards. Any discussion on the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Does the floor leader have the amendment?
Mr. President,
Chair recognizes the senator from Harford County.
yes.
Have the amendment.
We have the amendment as number 389-836/1.
836/1. 836/1. Do we have that?
And this is a clarifying amendment that narrows the scope to make the bill specific to that property at Bainbridge.
Okay. Does all senators have this on their floor laptops? 836/1. All right. Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Believe the chair is fine with the amendment, so we take it as a friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment. All right. All in favor of the amendment say aye. All opposed say nay. The amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 294 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 325, Chair Budget and Taxation Committee, Tax Sales Redemption, Non-Delinquent Taxes, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 37th District as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is a few words make a big difference. So Senate Bill 325 is a departmental bill that's been requested that actually alters the amount that a person must pay to a local tax collector to redeem a property sold at tax sale in the state. Currently, it says any taxes occurring after the date of tax sale are due, but this bill clarifies it to say that only the delinquent taxes occurring after the date of the tax sale must be paid. There are no amendments. There was no opposition. Move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 325 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 366, Senator McCray, Department of Assessments and Taxation Identification Number for Business Task Force, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 366 requires the State Department of Assessments and Taxation to convene a task force to make recommendations on adoptions for a unique Maryland identification number for each business registered and licensed with the state of Maryland. The report is due back December 1st, 2021. This bill has no amendments, and I ask to move adoption on a favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 366 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 480, Senator Zucker, Income Tax Distribution Tax Clinic for Low-Income Marylanders, favorable with one amendment.
Chair recognizes the sponsor of the bill as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Bill 480. Currently, right now, there are three institutions: University of Maryland Law School, University of Baltimore Law School, and the Maryland Volunteer Lawyers Service receives federal funding to help with tax disputes. Because it's federal money, they can only help with federal IRS tax disputes and not state tax disputes. This helps to fix that equity issue. Currently, with my old hat on, thousands of Marylanders leave millions of dollars on the table, no fault of their own, just because they don't have access to legal experts. This will ensure that they can get the tax assistance they need. There was no opposition to this bill. Passed unanimously. There's one committee amendment. It just divides the funding equally. I would move the amendment and adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. Question first on the amendment. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any amendments, any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 480 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 510, Senator Simonera, sales and use tax, tax-free period for back-to-school shopping, sale of sewing items, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 2nd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, Senate Bill 510 exempts from the state sales and use tax the sale of sewing items costing $100 or less purchased during the annual sales and use tax period for back-to-school shopping. For families that sew clothing, this will create parity for them when clothing and footwear items under $100 are already tax-free during this time frame. The bill is narrow with regards to the types of items it covers, including just the fabric, thread, zippers, tape, and elastic. It does not include sewing machines or sewing tools such as pins, pin cushions, scissors, or needles. There was no opposition. It was a unanimous vote. There are no amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. The first floor report, making sewing great again. Are there any discussion on the favorable committee report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Nothing for the new floor leader? No amendments spontaneously here? If not, seeing none, Senate Bill 510 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. Well done, Senator from District 2. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 534, Senator Gazzoni, income tax credit, wineries and vineyards, sunset extension, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 6 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 534 extends the termination date of wineries and vineyards to June the 30th, 2026. Physical impact is $500,000 a year. There was no committee amendments. I move favorable for the adoption of the committee report. Thank you.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 534 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 539, Senator Gazzoni, income tax credit, food donation pilot program extension, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 6th District as the floor leader. 2nd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're back for round two. Senate Bill 539 extends the food donation income tax credit for qualified farms for additional 2 years, extending through tax year 2023. The 2017 program was a pilot program that applied to Southern Maryland and Montgomery County. It was expanded in 2019. In 2019 alone, nearly 130,000 pounds of donations were reported, giving low-income Marylanders greater access to locally grown and fresh food while supporting our local farming communities during this challenging time. There was no opposition. It was a unanimous vote in the committee, and there are no amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 539 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. All right, next up, Senators, we have an Executive Nomination Committee report. Clerk will read the report.
The Senate Executive Nominations Committee reports favorably on the gubernatorial appointments and recommends that the Senate of Maryland advise and consent to these appointments.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Executive Nominations Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate accept report number 2 of the Senate Executive Nominations Committee in open session, and that we special order the report until Friday, February 12th.
The chair of the committee has moved for us to accept the report in open session and has requested to special order the report until Friday. Are there any objections? If not, so ordered. The bill will be special ordered to the report will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Friday. Senators, please make sure to look through. It's a lengthy report. Please make sure to look through the names. If there are any individuals that senators would like to separate out for one reason or another, we can do that on Friday, but please make sure to look through the report closely. Next up, we have a laid over bills. Let's do layover bill calendar number 4. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 220, Senator Heddleman, criminal law, hate crimes, protected groups, and penalties.
All right, the question is on the two committee amendments in the favorable committee report. So first on the amendments, any discussion on the amendments? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Chair recognizes the minority leader.
Yes, I have an amendment.
Senator has an amendment. Senator, what the number of the amendment?
It is Senate Bill 220 653424/1.
All right, give us just one moment to make sure that it gets entered in. Senators can pull it up. 424/1. All right, looks like we have it available. Senator may proceed.
Thank you. This bill deals with hate crimes, and all this amendment does is add political affiliation to that list. Unless you've been living under a rock, we have seen the assaults on people, graphic, cruel assaults on people, just simply based on their political affiliation or who they supported as a candidate. We've seen it with 82-year-old person all the way down to young children as young as 7 and 8 with their parents. I think we all can agree that no one should be assaulted through this act of hate towards these people. So we would like to add this. We have seen with Facebook and other platforms the vile hatred on there, and it's starting to come out into real life. And we've witnessed it over the last several years. And we as a body should protect Maryland from this vile hate that's going towards them, and as other states have done. They have enacted this in their states as well. So this is a common sense amendment, and I would ask for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask the body to reject this amendment. Right now, our hate crime statute is all about protecting people who have immutable characteristics, and this adds a totally different element into our hate crime statute, so I would urge the body to reject this amendment. Thank you.
All right, question is on the amendment. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. Senators requested a roll call vote. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 32 votes in the negative, the amendment fails. Are there any further amendments for the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 220 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, next up we have a special order calendar. This is calendar number 8. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 54, Chair Finance Committee, Local Government Clean Energy Loan Programs, Grid Resilience Projects.
All right, question before the body is on the two committee amendments in the favorable committee report. Question first on the amendments. Chair recognizes the
Mr. President and members, I move to recommit the bill to the Finance Committee.
The chairman has moved to recommit the bill to the committee. Any objections to the senator's motion? Seeing no objections, so ordered. The bill will be recommitted. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 319, Senator Hester, Clean Energy Loan Program, Remediation and Resiliency.
The question before the body is on the two committee amendments in the favorable committee report. On the committee amendments, Chair recognizes the floor leader of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 319 expands the types of projects that may be financed under a clean energy loan program enacted by a county or municipality. The expansion includes flood and storm water mitigation, environmental and health resiliency, including asbestos, lead, and indoor air quality, and finally, grid resiliency, including energy storage and demand management. This bill passed the Senate unanimously last year. The bill requires that an ordinance or resolution that establishes the Clean Energy Loan Program include a specified provision applicable to any project regarding the repayment term of the loan. There are two committee amendments. The first is technical. The second is the amendment that expands the use to the grid resiliency projects. There is no fiscal impact. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report and the two amendments.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of two committee amendments in the favorable committee report. Question first is on the amendments. And Senator, is this the bill that had duplicative issues? Okay. Questions on the amendments? Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 319 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 155, Senator Washington, Higher Education Tuition Exemption for Foster Care Recipients and Homeless Youth, Alterations and Reports.
All right, Senators, this bill is on this is Senate Bill 155 on third reader for final passage. Chair recognizes the Senator from the 34th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. The floor leader available for some questions?
Will the floor leader yield for a question? Senator may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just looking at the language of this bill, and it appears to say that so this allows folks to who are homeless, as defined under the bill, to get free tuition and board, et cetera, at our public institutions, right?
Correct.
And that would include our local community colleges?
Correct.
So I'm just really concerned about the only guidance my community college gave me coming down here is please, 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 no more unfunded mandates. You're killing us. No more unfunded mandates. We can't deal with those anymore. If you want to do something, fund it. So I'm concerned on that line, okay? So when I look at this, under the original law, to qualify as a homeless person or somebody else who qualifies under this, there's pretty strict prescriptions as to who can actually qualify you. But then I see under this bill, it says that anybody who is a designee of a nonprofit who receives private funding could qualify you as a homeless person, amongst other people. But that's one group of people. So we don't qualify. I don't see what qualifications this nonprofit entity has to have. I see they're supposed to be applying some federal standards, but the idea that some nonprofit could just, I can start a nonprofit in about 5 minutes here on the internet. So anybody who's on a nonprofit could just simply say, hey, yeah, Frank Jones here is a homeless student. He's homeless. I've determined that by my subjective application of these federal standards. And now they have to, your private or your public community college has to let him in for free and provide him everything for free at the community college. Is that the intent? Because that sure looks like what this bill does.
Well, thank you, Senator, so much for allowing me to provide an opportunity to clarify these questions. And also, I share your concern. I believe we should spend much more on ending homelessness in the state of Maryland, and I look forward to working with you on that, particularly investing much more than we currently are in ending homelessness among youth. So the challenge was, as I shared with the floor, with the body before, is that we were one of the first to pass legislation to extend this benefit that we currently provide to our foster youth to unaccompanied homeless youth. And again, the idea was that we would extend this, that we could support young people who, beyond all sorts of challenges, the fact that they're homeless, that they are unaccompanied, that they managed somehow to get accepted to a college, and so we wanted to make sure that we could support them in that way. What we found over the last 7 years is other states have extended that benefit as well to homeless youth, and we find ourselves now in the position of being one of the most restrictive. We also found that despite our best efforts, very few individuals were really taking advantage of this. So the definition, you stated something about a subjective application of federal standards. That's kind of the purpose of federal standards, is that it is not objective, and that it is objective rather, and that any nonprofit that would engage in fraud or misrepresentation would face the consequences. It's very clear in the legislation that we are adhering to McKinsey-Vento, which again is the federal guidelines, and all this bill is doing is getting rid of the numerous problems that we found that limited. We had 195 young people take advantage of the program in 2017 and 2018. So, you know, this bill, it'll increase utilization, but it'll be very modest.
So I guess in short, the answer to my question is yes, an undefined nonprofit who we have no qualifications established for under the bill could apply, could then say, we have subjectively applied these standards and we've determined that this person who we just met 3 minutes ago qualifies as homeless. We don't know what due diligence they had to do that, which is, of course, different than the foster care situation where the individual's been in the state program for possibly years, so there's pretty tough to defraud that. No cutting corners there. So I'm just looking for the assurances that I can give back to my community college that, hey, the people applying this, although we don't approve them, they're not on the state payroll, we can't sanction them, we don't review them, that somehow you can trust that they're going to apply these standards and that there's a gun to their head to make sure that they can't misapply those standards. And I'm not getting the warm and fuzzy that says my college isn't going to be burdened with any more or inappropriately burdened with unfunded mandates on sort of a runaway train.
Right. Mr. President, colleagues, the list of individuals who will provide certification are actually approved by the Department of Housing. They are approved by a state agency, so it is not, and this is in another part of the code, so it's not in this bill. So when we established this legislation in the past, we made sure that the organizations and the individuals that are providing the certification have to adhere. So if you would look here, it requires MHEP to report on the numbers, requires institutions to provide copies of any forms used. So there's a number of you can make assurances that there won't be any misuse of this opportunity to provide young people who are experiencing homelessness in this state to get tuition.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to dump on the people who are legitimately homeless. The issue is whether people can take advantage of that and get free college that's paid for by the local community colleges. The next question is on page 4, in line 20 through 25. That language is stricken, including the additional language plus the original language. And I'm just trying to understand the current status of the bill. In the current bill, is the part that says when determining whether a youth is an unaccompanied or homeless youth, a financial aid administrator shall verify annually the youth qualifies as an independent recipient or student under the Federal College Cost Reduction and Access Act. So if that language, is that language stricken from the current bill?
Well, why don't we do this? We'll go through all the amendments. So the amendment number 1 provides the current law listed that specific entities can verify homelessness. This gets to your earlier question. The problem was that it was too limited and it excludes state-funded programs that are serving youth and federally funded programs. So again, to your point, the institutions or the nonprofits that are certifying that someone is homeless somehow managed to enter into a contract with the state of Maryland and also somehow managed to enter into a contract with the federal government. So these are entities that have been verified. So that's the number 1. So it conforms, so the rationale to that amendment is that it conforms to other state laws, and there's an expanded list of entities that can verify homelessness, including those who use a FAFSA. The second amendment the problem was that we did not indicate that the verification of homelessness must be in a certain time period. So what we changed it to, we narrowed down and clarified that the youth must be verified meeting the McKinney-Vento homelessness definition. That's a standard that has been used for the last 20 years, very clear, and that they're experiencing homelessness during this 24-hour period. So that addresses some lack of clarity. The other amendment focuses on the fact that we really didn't provide for homeless youth liaison. In other words, that there's a way that there could be somebody to address this. Many institutions already have this because, frankly, there's some federal funding associated with identifying that you're providing services to homeless youth. So we required that.
So I'm sorry. My question is, do they have to be verified annually, or is this just, hey, I'm applying for the first year, I got in, I'm done, I'm going to College Park, I get once I qualify, I get 4 years without requalifying?
Every 2
or do I have
years.
to qualify annually?
Every 2 years. So we were
I'm sorry, 2?
So they have to.
I just couldn't hear
establish
you.
that
I'm not questioning. I just couldn't hear what you said. You said
no,
every.
I got you. They have to clarify that we got rid of the annual certification, because the annual certification, because this population is mobile, because it just was another barrier, frankly, another form for somebody to fill out, that once they have been certified as homeless, then they would not have to certify annually.
Not for, so if I qualify as homeless for my freshman year at College Park, I would not have to requalify during my entire 4 years.
That is correct.
And the logic for that was that they're homeless and they wouldn't have access to the computer, but they're completing a degree in engineering at College Park?
Again, I'm going to take your comments as being serious, and so I will explain the rationale behind getting rid of this requirement. We find that it's actually a technical correction that remedies an unintended and unforeseen consequence of the annual verification process. Students access the waiver, they use financial aid to secure stable housing, then they must re-verify their homelessness, and sometimes they lose that waiver because they are housed. So they're now housed, they got housing, and so now they're no longer technically homeless. So while they've been homeless, maybe the last 5 years or 2 years, they've somehow managed to get an apartment using the support that we've provided for them, and now they are ineligible, and then they can't pay their tuition. So then they lose their waiver, they lose the opportunity to continue school. So that's that. I'll continue.
So again, if I understand the logic of what you're saying, that would...
Senator's continued. Please yield the floor.
No other state with a homeless youth tuition waiver requires an annual verification of homelessness. 3, it lessens the administrative burden for institutions. You expressed a concern, the senator expressed a concern about the cost to the institution. Requiring this annual is time and staffing, and so we're relieving them of that. And then finally, Congress in 2020 passed the federal legislation that repeals annual verification of homelessness and FAFSA. So if we maintain that, we would be out of step with federal law.
I'm sorry, but this isn't FAFSA. This is a different certification.
It's annual, so it's consistent. So we're like, if they're not requiring annual certification with FAFSA, then we shouldn't do it as well.
Okay, so what you're saying is that there is no, you certify once in 4 years. If after year 1 I'm clearing $50,000 a year or $150,000 a year, that doesn't factor in. I get free school for the 4 years, and the reason we do that is that the engineering student at College Park would find it too difficult to fill out a one-page form to establish their homelessness, and that the college would be burdened with whatever you said, 200 of these people throughout the entire state. They would be too burdened to go back and review these forms to make sure that they're not foregoing tens of thousands of dollars inappropriately.
Mr. President?
Okay.
Could I ask the floor leader to yield for just a brief second?
Sure, absolutely.
Senator, may proceed.
Senator, the life of these people is not like a Hallmark movie where they are adopted and everything comes up roses. In fact, I learned from them and from the hearing, they fall in and out of homelessness frequently, that they don't get adopted by a wealthy family and we have a great ending to the story. In fact, just the opposite is true. But on top of that, Senator, getting the paperwork can take time. So in other words, if they are pushed out for a year, it could take them 4 or 5 months or some period of time to get the paperwork to get back in the program. So then the question becomes, is it better to have a more efficient way and maybe have a few extra people who might stay in longer, or do we push people out who need this greatly. And I think that's the issue we came up with, and that's why the floor leader and sponsor of the bill introduced the bill. And I have to say, the testimony was extremely compelling. And as she said, we're one of, if not the only state that calls for annual. And even the institutions, the 4-year, did they have a concern of a few more students? I mean, I did some quick back of the envelope math. It comes about, on average, about 26 students per community college. Could it go up 2 or 3 students? Yeah, it could. And if there's abuse, I'm sure we'll hear about it. But the committee, led by the floor leader and sponsor, felt this is absolutely the way to go.
So thank you. I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. My problem is when we refer to them as these people, I don't think there are these people. Are there really some pathetic cases? Yeah, but this body has got to stop doing legislation based upon the usual litany of bringing in the folks who are the worst impacted in our society and then assume that everybody else under this program is going to be exactly like those, one of these people who have to automatically qualify. And the idea that we're going to send out, we're going to require our community colleges to expend tens of thousands of dollars on people who qualify one time, whose position may have radically changed over the next 4 years, put them above people who may have far greater needs, without even questioning it, to me is just sort of ludicrous. So, but I guess we're going to continue to legislate based upon tough cases, and we're just going to assume that everybody else is one of these people, and we'll move forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any further discussion on the bill? Chair recognizes Senator from Anne Arundel.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have a question for the floor leader.
The floor leader yield to a question. Senator may proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Washington and I were part of the task force that was put together 3 or 4 years ago, and so we're pretty conversant with some of the issues. The question I have for the floor leader is, does this tuition waiver pay for room, board, and books?
It pays for tuition.
Say again?
It pays for tuition.
Just tuition. And the good senator from Hartford County said, room and board. Not true. These people who don't have a parent, a guardian, or an adult, no one's there to help sign a parent loan. No one's there to help guide them in the process. Sure, here's a ticket to go to class, and go find some books, go find some food, go find a place to stay, because it's not room and board and all the things that go with it. It's tuition and mandatory fees, number one. Number two, and thank you very much, Senator, for your comment. Mr. President, the total cost last year was $1.3 million. On the floor here, every year, we have the ability to give out senatorial scholarships that amount to $1.5 million. I think those are very appropriate. We are able to pick and choose worthy students who have a financial need, who have a family crisis, and we help these people for a very specific reason. These homeless kids are at the bottom of the rank of society. Okay, I'm going to send you a letter of admission to College Park. What's your home address? I want to send you an email. Where's your computer? I want you to come for a visit. You live in Baltimore. I want you to come to College Park for a visit. How do you get there? You don't have a car. You don't have money for a train. These girls and men and women are working hard, probably at the same time they're going to school. And the testimony in the committee was very compelling. If you're in a dorm, if you happen to be able to borrow money on a Pell Grant or some type of educational loan, and you're in a dorm for a year, that disqualifies you. It doesn't change your circumstances. It doesn't change who's helping you or not helping you. It disqualifies you, and that's one of the problems with our current system. This bill is appropriate. It's targeted, and the fiscal impact, $1.3 million is no big deal in a sense on a $47 billion budget, but it's spread out to all the four-year schools and all the community colleges. A lot of the colleges actually give tuition waiver for children of the employees. people who have a residence, who have an income, who have a college, generally a college education, and yet this, because of their position as a faculty member, some of their children go tuition free. God bless them. They don't get paid enough. It's a good employee benefit, but these are kids, young men and young women, at a position in society significantly lower. And we all know that even if it's only a year or two of college or community college, every year of education makes a difference. I strongly recommend supporting this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any further discussion on the bill? Senators, please, let's refrain. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Chair recognizes, yes, Senator from Carroll County.
So I was sitting here listening to the debate about and the questions, and I know we're not, we're not able to amend the bill and look at it now on third reading. I want to speak in support of what my colleague here just said previously in questioning the bill. I think I'm going to vote for this bill, but I'm concerned about, I think it's an important point that the senator from Harford County is making about our community colleges and about a lot of the things that we have to consider here, particularly this session when our fiscal issues are particularly acute. We oftentimes have situations where we let bad cases make law, and I know that the sponsor of this bill, her commitment to this issue, and I know this is her intentions are good. And at $1.3 million, just talked about that like it's not that much money. Well, it's not a whole lot of money in the context of a state budget, but our community colleges, and I have one in my county that every little bit really factors into their ability to increase pay for staff, to do other things in the community they're trying to do to help students to be able to afford it. So I think we just need to be mindful as we go forward this session about things that we're adding on to. It's easy for us at the state level to say, oh, it's just a little bit more money. But when it filters down to maybe our county governments or our municipal governments or our community colleges, it all adds up. And, I'm looking at the bill closely. I think I'm going to vote for it. But I think that's an important note of caution that we need to have moving forward. I think it's an important point because we can get swept away in thinking we want to help as many people as we can, and we all do. But at the end of the day, it's not our money. It's the taxpayers' money. And so we need to be very careful about adding additional burdens, even if they may seem small to us at the state level, adding additional burdens on to the, when it rolls downhill, it's not good. So I just know from speaking to my community college even this week about some of the concerns that they have. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes Senator from the 14th District.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I've listened to the debate today, and obviously, given that we're in a global pandemic, more and more people are losing their livelihoods. And that's why I'm really proud of the action that we took last week to dedicate more than $15 million to community colleges to really help with this type of population. And I'm really looking forward to working with the Senate. I know that the Budget Reconciliation Financing Act came out that impacts the CADE formula that would decrease the CADE formula by $26 million. So I look forward to working with all of our colleagues to doing all we can across the board, making sure that we're protecting the most vulnerable in our state, which we, unfortunately, due to this pandemic, we have more and more of. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, Senate Bill 155 is on third reader for final passage. Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 155, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we have one more on this calendar. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 278, Senator Kagan, State Department of Education and Maryland Department of Health, Maryland School-Based Health Center Standards Telehealth. This is an emergency bill.
All right, the question before the Senate is on the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion on the report?
Mr. President.
Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from the 35th District.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We're still waiting on some answers that we had, some questions to the Department of Education. So until they get back to us, I would kindly ask for to special order this just to Friday so we could get those answers back.
Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator. Friday is fine, but we would love to discuss telehealth and move it forward on Friday. Thank you.
No objections from the committee on the special order. Are there any other objections? Without objection, so ordered. The bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Friday. All right, next calendar is a layover calendar. This is calendar number 3. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 316, Senator Klossmeyer, Renewable Energy Portfolio Standard Hydroelectric Power.
Question before the Senate is the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, Chair recognizes the bill sponsor.
Yes, I'd like to add an amendment.
So let's just, I'm going to adopt the favorable committee report quickly. Any discussion on the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. The senator from the 8th District has an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is number 923823.
923-823. Looks like the secretary has the amendment. Senators have the amendment on their laptops. If so, Senator may proceed.
This just moves this bill ahead till July 1st rather than right now it's at January 1st. So it just moves it up. So basically.
Excellent. Any discussion?
Prospectively rather than respectively.
Thank you, Senator. Bit of a technical amendment here. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Chair recognizes the senator from Frederick County.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have an amendment.
Senator has an amendment. If we could read the number.
683526/1.
526. Give us just a moment. All right, 526/1. Does everybody have a copy of the amendment on their floor laptop? Okay, give us just a moment. 526/1. It's up. All right, Senator may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The other day we had a bill dealing with renewable portfolio standards. I offered an amendment which would remove completely waste energy from the Renewable Portfolio Standard Program. This amendment would keep it in place, but simply move waste to energy, trash incineration to Tier 2. The point for this is if Maryland's going to have a 2-tier system for RPS, then the source that produces the most pollutants, the most CO2, should be in Tier 2. Tier 1 should be reserved for clean sources of energy. Waste energy was Tier 2 prior to 2011. This puts us in line with other states that have a renewable portfolio standard. Among states that have more than one tier to RPS, Maryland is the only state where trash incineration is a Tier 1. I would just make the argument, as I did the other day, that burning trash produces the most CO2 emissions by far. It also emits nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, other pollutants. If you look at the tiers, currently the CO2 by megawatt, trash incineration produces over 2 million pounds of CO2. There's nothing else that's even at black liquor, which we just eliminated the other day, was only 1/4, not even a fourth of that, was 506,000 compared to 2.3 million pounds. And just lastly, I'll say that it's important too that continuing to allow waste energy in this higher category allows it to compete with cleaner sources like solar and wind and others that we are telling constituents that we're funding. So I would press my amendment and ask for a roll call on it.
Senator moves the amendment. Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. As I mentioned last week, when we shift these tiers, it's really quite complicated energy policy. So I think what would be appropriate with this new amendment, the committee would ask, move to special order this bill until next Tuesday so we can have a robust discussion about, again, a complicated change in energy policy. So I'd move to special order till next Tuesday, Mr. President.
Senator moves to special order the bill until next Tuesday. Are there any objections? Without objection, so ordered. The bill will be special order to the appropriate time on Tuesday. All right, we have one more calendar left. This is a special order calendar number 7 from unfinished business. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 103, Senator Kramer, Business Regulation, Retail Pet Stores Modifications, No More Puppy and Kitten Mills Act of 2021.
All right, the question before the body is on the favorable committee report. Questions on the report? Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Chair recognizes the minority whip.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. President. I have an amendment.
All right.
213524/1.
Just one moment. 213524. Do we have that on the computer? Give us just a moment. On there?
Should be.
All right, Senator, may proceed.
Thank you very much. This amendment simply removes the requirement that they have to be born at the facility. And at this time, I would simply ask that the bill and the amendment lie over under the rule.
The Senator's motion, the bill has not been laid over. There is an amendment. The motion is in order. Senate Bill 103 will be laid over under the rule until the appropriate time on Friday. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 180, Senator Simonero, Funeral Establishments and Crematories, Unclaimed Remains of Veterans, Notification, Disposition, and Reporting.
All right, question before the body is on the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 180 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, we were much more efficient than expected today. Thank you all. We're sort of going to have a few things for next week, but we'll see how Friday goes, and if we can do it in 2 hours, we'll do it in 2 hours. But just keep that 3 to 5, just possibility. All right, let's go with committee amendments. Chair recognizes Chair of Finance Committee.
Finance will have bill hearings today and tomorrow at 1 p.m. And could I take a moment to say one other thing?
Senator, let's do committee announcements, and I'll come right back to you. Chair recognizes the Chair of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee will meet at 1 p.m. sharp for bill hearings, and at the conclusion, 15 minutes after the conclusion, we'll have a voting session in chambers.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Chair of Budget and Taxation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Budget Tax will meet today for bill hearings at 2, and then tomorrow all 3 subcommittees will meet at 12:30.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Chair of Judicial Proceedings Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Judicial Proceedings Committee will meet for hearings at, let's do 12:30 for hearings. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, back to the Chair of Finance announcement.
Senator from the 10th.
Yes, Senator from the 10th District.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. President and members, when Senate Bill 14 passed third reader, you said anybody else wanted to say something. I was in the middle of praying. I actually was thanking divine providence for what had occurred. For us, it had been a 5-year journey. And to be here to think about all the hard work that the current members of JPR put in and the leadership in that committee, and all of the hours in the interim, even before we got here, that they spent working with technical witnesses, such as from the Innocence Project and so on. And to see all of you, bless you, put your imprimatur on that bill was a sign that we do have mercy and we do love justice, and that when we work hard enough and we care enough, we can make anything happen. I want to thank everybody so much for your vote.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for that observation. It is very much appreciated. All right. Any other announcements, Senators? Any other announcements? Committee announcements, delegations. Chair recognizes the co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two quick announcements. First, thank you everybody who's shared your Valentines over here. We're about 50% complete. If you do have any between now and Friday, please drop them off with me or the other protocol chair. And the other announcement is just that if you haven't been to the mailroom recently, there's about 10 mailboxes that are kind of overflowing in there, and you don't want to miss anything. There could be something really special. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the other co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Thank you very much. We do have a special birthday today, so permission to use the senator's name.
Senator may proceed.
Thank you very much. It's Senator Jason Gallion's birthday today.
Happy
so
birthday.
Let's give him a round of applause.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Excellent. Chair recognizes Senator from the 8th District.
Baltimore County, 8:30 on Friday, we will have Baltimore County delegation, 8:30 Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other delegation announcements? Delegation announcements for the good of the order? All right, Senators, one administrative note. There were a couple amendments that came out today that sponsors had not seen. Please, just a reminder to try and make sure that members on the floor have a copy of the amendment prior to the introduction of the amendment so that there is a ample opportunity to understand the full implication of the issues. So,
Mr. President?
Yes, Chair recognizes Minority Leader.
Yeah, just for clarification, I offered an amendment today, and I thought the protocol was to email it to the floor leader so we're not running across the floor handing out paper. Is that the correct protocol?
Yes, that is the correct protocol to email ahead of time. Yes, Senator, good point. Good point. Yes, please. And members, you can send a copy of the amendment that's drafted but not yet introduced. It's on the floor system under amendments for a bill, and your requested amendments will be there, and you can download it as a PDF and send it electronically. So, more technical changes. All right, I think that does it. Let's do a quorum call before we adjourn.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 47 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate of Maryland stand in recess until Friday, February 12th at 12 p.m.
Without objection, so ordered. Stay safe, wear your mask, get your vaccine.